So for the past 2 years, I've been racing this little Yaris on track. It's done about 200 laps, and I've never really checked it over. So let's see what 2 years of abuse does to a little econo box. This is still the original motor, so today I'm gonna do a compression test and I'm gonna get the oil analyzed. Plenty of the stuff on the car is brand new, but some of the stuff was installed about 3 years ago. So we'll give it a once over and figure out if there's anything that I need to replace. Also, we'll take a quick look at the tires and see how many track days they've got left in them. So I'm going to start with a compression test. The way this works is you want to see if the cylinder is sealing properly. So what you do is you take out a spark plug, put a compression tester in instead of the spark plug, and then try and crank the engine over. That should give you pressure in the cylinder. And if it's equal pressure and holding pressure well, then you've got a healthy cylinder. If it's low on compression, then you might have a valve that's not seating properly or a ring that's not seating properly, either of which would be bad. So first I'm going to pull the fuses for spark and fuel so this thing doesn't try and actually start while we're compression testing.
This motor has over 150,000 miles on it, and for the last 10,000 it's been driven hard. A compression tester can be rented at your local auto parts store, and the test is pretty easy. That is, as long as something doesn't go completely wrong.
Okay, so just my luck. The compression tester is stuck in the first cylinder we tried. It's got good compression, but yeah, the whole thing is just spinning on the fitting. So I'm gonna figure out how to get that out, and I'm probably gonna owe AutoZone some money for a compression tool. Okay, so maybe there's a way around this, maybe I'm just being dumb. I've heard of the adapter getting stuck in there before. That's pretty common. The adapter screws on, and then when you try and unscrew it, the adapter stays, and this piece comes off, and then you gotta figure out a way to get the adapter out. That sucks. But this just seems to want to spin really easily without spinning that nut there. So I'm gonna see if I can figure out something to make sure that doesn't happen on the next 3 cylinders.
I secured the fitting with some liquid metal filler, and while that's drying, we can go ahead and look at the tires. This set of RS4s has about 10 track days on them. They've been wearing pretty evenly, but a fresh set of tires is a must for next year. The rest of the car seems pretty good, but I did find a torn steering rack boot that's going to need to get replaced. With the filler dry, we can continue our compression test. I'm also going to tape it so that no flakes fall off in the cylinder.
So normally this would be a really good time to check spark plugs, but I put these in literally 1 track day ago, so they're fine.
Once the compression test tool is working, it's just a matter of rinse and repeat for every cylinder. Most cars should have something above 120 psi of compression, but the bigger goal is to have all the cylinders match as closely as possible.
So the compression test is done. They were all floating around about 130, 135, except for cylinder 1, which is up at 145. I can't think of anything bad about having extra compression, but you know, maybe there is something. I don't like it being uneven like that. Maybe cylinder 1 is where we've been having those cylinder misfires. I don't know how those two things would correlate and what the actual problem is, but I'm going to check the logs and see if cylinder 1 has been our misfire spot. But I think we're fine to continue on. I think this motor is healthy, but the other way that I can check if the motor is healthy is with an oil analysis. So this is an oil analysis kit from Blackstone. There are plenty of companies that do this, AMSOIL, other places, but basically what you do is you take a little bit of your used engine oil, put it in here, mail it to them, and they will send you back a mass spectroscopy analysis of your oil. It'll show you what is in your oil, and from there you can start to diagnose issues. If you're getting metal filings or anything like that, you can start to figure out if you've got leaks, your coolant coming in, your bearings wearing out, anything like that. So if there is any problem, hopefully the analysis will show us.
I haven't been running the same oil all season, so this will be for the last 2 track days. The kit includes the ability to collect an oil sample and a fill-out card to put down as much information about the car as possible. It's worth letting them know that the engine is being used for a race application so that they know that you're driving the car hard.
Okay, ready to get this sent off, and through the magic of editing, you'll see the results right now.
And here they are. Okay, so the results from Blackstone actually look really good. They've given us the breakdown of all the metals that could be in the oil. Aluminum, iron, copper, lead, tin, nickel, everything. And based on what they're saying here though, everything is looking pretty good. Slightly elevated levels of lead. So this isn't a clean bill of health. This isn't 100% perfect, but the engine is still pretty good, especially for 150,000 miles. If I threw a brand new engine in the Yaris, would it perform better? Probably. And honestly, the compression test seemed okay, but after looking at what the spec is for a 1NZFE specifically, it's anywhere between 150 to 215 PSI. So that actually could be low on compression. I don't know if that might be the spec for the Atkinson cycle version of the engine, the one in the Prius. That engine had a higher compression ratio to begin with. Now, compression ratio and a compression test are not the same thing, but in all other cases, 130 PSI, 135, 140, which is about what we were getting, is all fine. And realistically, swapping out that engine is not something that I really want to do right now because I have some other big plans for the Yaris. I guess what I'm going to have to do is cross my fingers on the engine and just send it and see what happens. So if you want to see what those other upgrades are and you want to see how the engine survives this year, stick around and watch the channel because we're going to a lot more events this year. We're competing in more series. We're doing more stuff with the Yaris and it's going to be faster. It just is. Unless, of course, the engine blows up because of these elevated lead levels and low compression. In which case you will see how to swap an engine on a Yaris. So good content either way.